Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to tonight's community race. My name is XenoCat, and I'm joined here in the booth by Lady SSJ for this fun Trickers Treat flag set on the new Beta 4.2 beta. How are you doing tonight, Lady SSJ?
XenoCat, I'm doing very well. I'm very much looking forward to this race. I almost don't want to talk too much about one of the new flags. I think some people are aware of it, but it's an interesting one. It's a fun one. But overall, very excited. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Indeed, we have a fun flag set for you tonight. Our objectives are looking pretty quick, with two of these objectives being completely free, with Rescue the Hostage on Mount Hobbs and defeating the boss of Mist Cave. But that third objective, requiring the package and the required forge, could still prove to be a bit of a hassle for our runners.
Yeah, it can be very deceiving. You know, you could get the package, you could, obviously rescue the hostage on Hobbs can happen very quickly, the boss in Mist Cave, but then, you still have to get 2 key items. So you could get 3 of your objectives done within the first 15-20 minutes and then spend the next 30-40 minutes getting the other 2 key items you need.
Indeed, and unfortunately our runners will have to, at least for them, they will have to complete all 4 of their objectives tonight to get the crystal to fight Zeromus, so there's no skipping an objective that you don't like. You gotta do everything, which means you have to find the adamant, you have to find that legend sword, and you have to find that package.
Which I am very grateful for, because everyone, myself included, wants to see objective number 1 completed.
For sure. One of our flags tonight changes that first objective a little bit. And so, needless to say, we're not going to be getting an Excalibur tonight. Well, we might get one from a trap chest or a random chest, since T-Wildish is on, but it looks like our runners are off. And it looks like KNH is in a different seed. There was a little bit of seed issues in the race channel, but we have a Kane and Cecil start on Groundfire Rumblefish's screen with a hook as the starting key item for them. And it looks like Pomerian Knight is also doing the same seed as Groundfire Rumblefish. Oh dear. But
Okay.
we do have a French vanilla Kane and Cecil swapped places with each other.
That hook is interesting. It makes you wonder, if this is our players' only way underground, or if maybe we can get a magma key still. It's obviously preferable to get the magma instead of having to go that hook route.
Indeed, that hook route could be very rude to our party.
Now, the good thing about this is that it's C relaxed, and there is no free key item, but there are free characters. So you can still check out Mysidia and get your 2 free characters right away if you like.
Indeed, there's a whole host of free characters, as we see Rumblefish has picked up a Sid from Damsian. Groundfire already diving right into the boss of Mist Cave, which is Baigen tonight, and Pomerian Knight finding Masamune's for sale in Mysidia at S Wild is quite wild. Ooh, and it looks like Groundfire had not saved before going into that Mist Cave fight, and unfortunately we'll have to sit through this whole opening scroll again.
Uh, that is unfortunate. Um, on the other hand, speaking of unfortunate, Rumblefish running into the alt gauntlet at Hobbs. So anybody's going to have to go through this in order to complete this objective. And this early in the game, it's just going to be. It's not going to be overly hard. It's just going to be a slog without a host of J items to push through this.
Yep, this is going to be a slow fight for pretty much everyone. Chimera Knight heading into the Watery Pass, which is very good for loot. Gets a Moon Veil from one of those early chests. KNH's Cedar issue has been resolved. Good to see. Only a few minutes behind, and with the spread that can happen on these seeds, that doesn't put KNH out of the running at all.
No, absolutely not. Depending on what you find, what you loot or what route you take, you can very easily make up time.
Indeed. Ooh, that crystal ring and a dwarf axe in that little chamber under the waterfall on Chimera Knight's screen. That dwarf axe is going to get Kane back road, and Chimera Knight has found an edge. So that'll really take care of a lot of these overworld bosses.
Yeah, absolutely. How many fights is Rumblefish through? Is this now 3 fights, I want to say?
I have not been paying attention. It's the gauntlet is a long and arduous process. Well, pretty much wherever you find it, whenever you find it, and it's never fun. But it looks like Groundfire is taking that starting hook and diving right into Cave Eblon, going for this higher tier loot than some of the stuff you'll find on the overworld, and might be heading down to check the shops and the characters.
Yeah, it's a good play to make. The only problem is if the character ends up being a bust, and you don't have to find a magma key, then you're kind of taking a little bit more time than maybe you'd like. But I still would probably take this check just to see who that character could be. If maybe you get maybe you get a Foo, or you get a Palm, somebody that can really kind of help you push through this seed a little bit more quickly.
Indeed, and the loot here is nothing to sneeze at. We've seen a Moon Veil, a Rune Axe, another Dwarf Axe down here. So this is some pretty good loot for this party.
Yeah, now it's not vanilla traps on, so we still have one trap chest down here, but you can kind of loot a little bit, as you see Groundfire do, taking some of the chests, and then may decide to go after and see which one that trap chest is, and maybe try to take it. If not, reset out of it, and then just go ahead and decide to loot everything else.
Indeed. And we see KNH heading in, doing these early character checks, running up into Damsian. I believe has been to Watery Pass, so we'll have that edge, which is actually going to speed up her early game a lot.
Yeah, I mean, having that edge, that almost makes you... See, part of me wants to say you fade that objective number 3 for now, but the other thing is, perhaps running into the case of maybe forgetting it. So, you figure maybe just do it now.
But meanwhile, Groundfire has shown us the reason to dive the hook route early. It's Fusoya.
Foo is very nice to find. Now, it's not vanilla Foo, so you're still going to have to defeat bosses to get him powered up, but that's still very nice to see. You love to see that here.
Indeed, that's going to be a huge power up for Groundfire's team. And, I mean, we have to defeat a couple of overworld bosses anyway for our objectives, so we're going to be powering Foo up regardless. May as well grab him early. Meanwhile, Chimera Knight has shown us Wyvern here in the Antlion Nest.
Not as scary because Wyvern's on, so there's no opening Mega Nuke, and there's no opening attack, he'll just launch right into his, wall nuke reflex strats. So not too scary there.
Yep, and Edge is so fast that Wyvern didn't even get a turn, and Plumeria Knight is rewarded with the package. Which is already 3 objectives available for him.
Yes, absolutely. So now they're just on the hunt for the other 2 key items at this point.
Yep. We just have to find the Adamant and that Legend Sword, get underground and forage, and then find a way to Zeromus.
Well, and then also decide how you're going to do a grind too. Getting go mode early is great and all, but can kind of cause a little bit of anxiety if you feel like, well, what am I going to do to get my levels ready for Z mode?
Indeed. There are guaranteed to be sirens somewhere because the shops are wild, but that shop with sirens might be pretty well gated.
It could absolutely be on the moon, right? And then, who knows where that darkness crystal could be, and that could take some extra time. We see Plumeria Knight going after Demus, which is a good play because they'll get a key item check out of this.
Indeed, this is a very spicy Demus check at the waterfall. If you're not keying into looking for Demus early, this is a very easy boss spot to fade and leave behind for a very long time. So this key item, this play could be huge for Plumeria Knight.
Meanwhile, we see Ground Flyer. Looks like they're going to be walking out of Eblin. Going to check the shops here, maybe see if there's an exit, or maybe they're looking at something to buy here. I didn't check the shop the first time, so I'm not sure what's here.
I know I saw Moonveils in the item shop here, and exit items as well, which are quite nice to have, especially since Fu has not learned exit yet.
Plumeria Knight taking kind of the all-forgotten back of Watery Pass, but after defeating that boss is a good place to stop by. You have a chance at getting some really high tier items, so that's a good play to make.
Indeed, it's not a common play since there's only 4 chests in there, and you can't exit out of the area behind the waterfall, unfortunately, but the treasure is pretty good, and as we see Plumeria Knight going right into this package cutscene, and we find another Palom at Mist Village. There was one also at Mysidia that several of our runners have picked up.
Now the only problem with coming in this way is if they remember to check the key item spot, because you could go through this whole package cutscene, go back to Kaipo and do that and do all that, and then maybe just not remember to come back to Mist to do that key item check. So you hope that he will.
Indeed. It's very easy to forget that you've defeated Demist the longer that you wait to get the turn in. Meanwhile, Rumblefish is heading into the Baron Inn, where we have Dark Elf in the first spot. And not a particularly difficult boss, has split HP, has 400 total HP, which is split between the 2 forms, so very squishy boss. Will probably go down pretty quickly. And the second spot in the Baron Inn is French Vanilla.
Okay, not scary in the least. Plumeria Knight, meanwhile, going after their defeat the boss in this cave objective. So hopefully once they're done that, they'll spin over to Kaipo to do that key item check.
Yep, KNH has gotten her first objective done and is headed right for her second. cleaning up these required bosses.
As we see Ground Flyer now going to be checking out Hobbs and wondering, yep, all right, they're going to go and take on that gauntlet and see how they get through that.
With access to a Fu, you would think it would be easier, but unfortunately Fu only has Ice 1. So...
yeah, getting that Fu early, right, you miss out sometimes on getting those even tier 2 spells, which is, you know, unfortunate, but they'll get through it. Again, it's just going to be a time slog. The good thing is everyone is kind of seem to be going through the same time slog, so...
Indeed, and, well, Groundfire is heading into this Alt Gauntlet. Rumblefish has finished up at the Baron Inn, defeated those Baron guards, and was rewarded with a Tella and a Twin Harp.
Could very well be required music. You know, you wonder if they'll go to make that check since they're on the overworld anyway, or if they'll fade that for later.
Especially with this party that is so physical heavy, I don't really see much of a reason to put that Twin Harp check off. And we're still looking for a Magma Key, so, you know, even if it's not technically required, a Magma Key would be quite nice.
Indeed. The only reason you may fade it is if you don't have sources to exit. You know, it's kind of a long check, but you have a Tella, so if it's not anything that's required, or even if it is, you can just simply exit out of the cave. It's you know, then it's just taking the Black Chocobo back, so it's not a particularly long check.
Ooh, Sirens and Starveils have been located here in, I believe this is Troya. Yep, in that cafe shop.
Yeah, and that's a spot that is very easy to forget. You know, I'm guilty of that too, of just not checking that spot and then scouring the world for your sirens and then realizing, oop, there's one spot I did not check.
Yep. Looks like a CPU is attacking Fabul today. On both Plumeria Knight and KNH's screens, as Rumblefish is taking the dive into the Cave Magnus to give us our music.
Plumeria Knight, unfortunately, used that flame to take out both of those orbs, so he's now getting gold 199, but hopefully feels they have enough damage to output to push through this.
Yep. Ooh, that was a spicy ninja sword in that rarely looted room in Cave Magnus. As Fabul gives us a tower key, which will be nice once we get underground, but until then, not the most useful item.
No, but it's always nice to, you know, incentivizes you to go to tower once you have that tower key. That's 2 checks, you know, 1 loop. You don't have to come back. You know, of course, if it's required. If it's not, then it feels like a waste. But I always like having tower key more oftentimes than not.
Indeed, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But it looks like Rumblefish is about to be heading into our Twin Harp check, which we all love because Edward doesn't play his same old song. We get randomized music after this little cutscene fight here. So, with that, as the Dark Elf takes care of Rumblefish's party, we will be quiet and let you all listen to some tunes. What a cute song. And with Mom Bomb here, we're going to get to hear a lot more of it than usual. As our Mom Bomb fight is wrapping up here, Crownfire has made it through the package cutscene. KNH is through the package cutscene as well, and Plumerionite is now heading up Mount Ordeals to show us the last of these overworld checks that we haven't seen, where we have another Palom.
Oh, and that's a darkness crystal for Rumblefish, as they got through that Mom Bomb there.
Ooh, that is very spicy. Because, well, that may not technically be required. That opens up several more checks and a lot more grind options for our runners.
Does offer one perhaps required check with Cave Bahamut, which, you know, if you're a runner, you really hope that's not the case. You know, I wonder if you're Rumblefish, if you think you're pretty good with your party and you don't bother raising the whale maybe until you need to, or, you know, like they're going to go up ordeals now. Maybe the play is just to hold off on, like I said, raising the whale until you feel the need to. I mean, yeah, maybe you'd like to have a better white mage than Porum, but they have enough to get through, you know, the seed.
Indeed, and with a Cecil and a Tella in the party, definitely makes sense to head up Mount Ordeals, where it looks like the Dark Imps are in the back attack spot. I missed the boss in the first spot, but I'm sure either Rumblefish or Groundfire, or actually KNH will show us very quickly.
Well, that is why, because that is a Mylon Z, and that is very not threatening in that spot, to say the
Oh
least.
dear. They put the boss that only punches in a spot that doesn't have very much attack power. It doesn't help that Mylon Z is also weak to, I think, 3 different elements.
It seems like he's weak to everything. The only thing he, of course, is not weak to is Quake, because for some reason, believe it or not, Mylon Z is floating above the ground.
Yep. Quake and Ice does not work well on Mylon Z. Mylon Z will absorb ice spells. Because he is weak to fire, and that only makes sense, you know? You're weak to fire, you must absorb ice. That's how it works, right?
There are some things in this game that make sense. Some things. It's the developers' quirky ways to, Mylon Z is an earth element. There's not really a flying element, but, having him, be able to take earth elemental spells or items would be a little silly. So that's their workaround, is to make him technically floating.
The only problem with that is it does make him weak to the throw element. Which
yes,
is
indeed.
silly. And we have the other boss weak to the throw element here in the changing room with Plague. And the changing room, I believe, gave us the pan, which is another exciting, fun key item to have once we get underground.
Yes, indeed. Especially with their tower key in hand, you imagine they'll be making both of those checks. As soon as if they decide to go through with that.
Indeed, and it also, finding the pan on the overworld is always nice because it allows you to essentially not worry about running through the Sylph Cave twice. You only have to make one trip through there, and then you get two items when you talk to Sheila. It's just a really nice little routing efficiency.
Absolutely. I can't remember the last time I've seen someone or run into myself where I've had both the tower key and the pan key before going underground. The only thing that would make this nicer is if you were to have the magma key, but I guess we can't have it all.
Nope. Unfortunately, it looks like our runners will not be able to get around going through that hook route unless there is a magma key up in Cave Bahamut, although I don't think our runners are too keen on doing that, and I don't believe anyone has checked the demist item, because I think the one runner who's done it has not gone back.
Yeah, Plumera, I think, is the one that beat demist, but I do not. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember them going back and checking that, which is, as we mentioned earlier, was a potential concern going through that package cutscene. You spend so much time going through that, and then, I saw them go to Miss Cave, but I think you're right. I think they did not, unless someone in chat caught it and please correct us.
Yes, please correct us if we are wrong. We won't hate you. We won't even dislike you a little bit. In fact, we'll be very thankful if you correct us.
We will actually like you, believe it or not.
We like getting corrected here, because we want to make sure we're delivering accurate information to everyone who is watching.
Now, I'm laughing because I look at K&H's screen, and while they have a black belt on that Cecil, the dancing dagger is the best weapon they can use right now for that Cecil, which is just a crime in my eyes.
Hey, the dancing dagger is really solid. It does a good 300 damage when you use it as an item. Don't diss the dancing dagger.
Oh no, I'm not dissing the dancing dagger. I think the dancing dagger is a very good item. I just think it's a shame that to use it as a main item, um, and to resort to having Cecil, who should have, you know, a slightly better weapon to use as his main attack. But that's just, nitpicking.
That's just sometimes how the seed goes, as we see Groundfire also equipping that Dancing Dagger to Cecil, heading into Fabul.
Yeah, I mean, it's too wildish, so, the chance of them finding something better is going to be high. Um, S wild means we can find an X-Cal. I believe we could find a crystal sword somewhere, but getting the money to buy said weapons, that's another story.
Smithy pointing out our tracker pointing out that we have seen an ice brand somewhere. I know I saw a rune axe as well in Cave Eblon, which would help Groundfire out.
Yeah, I believe Kane might have that dwarf axe equipped right now, if I'm not mistaken.
But it looks like Rumblefish is raising the big whale, not happy with his party, is going to be checking. Maybe not happy with his party, maybe wants to beat the boss, maybe just wants to shop. Who knows? There's all sorts of good things on the moon.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Sirens by now, which I know you pointed out in Troya, you may be thinking, well, maybe Sirens are down there, so it's not a bad check to make. You could also save, on the overworld, and if you don't like what you see, especially getting that character, just reset out of that. Maybe you just use this as recon too to see who is in cave value. And maybe you do that early, just as, if it's an easy boss there.
Yep, but our hopes for an overworld magma key are not dashed yet, as Plumerionite has pulled a Baron key from the D-Mist.
Oh, that is a check I would make. I would make next, absolutely. That's 3 bosses, but that's 2 checks right there.
It is certainly spicy. Groundfire, to answer question attack, Groundfire has shown us who is in the Ruby spot. It is the Kaipo Guards fight. So, not a particularly difficult fight at all. With the hourglasses in the starting kit, that fight is completely free.
Now, Plumera going for this alt gauntlet fight, depending on how their party's set up, may have a much easier time. Yeah, so they have that edge going first. They're just going to be able to cast Flame. And most of these fights will go down quickly, except for the spirit type enemies.
Yep, unfortunately, this alt gauntlet likes to troll you, and a lot of the enemies are weak to flame. Some of them aren't weak to anything, like these cockatrices. Well, weak to throw, but not weak to flame, and don't resist it. But then there's some enemies that absorb flame, because why not?
Yes, you can't have an alt gauntlet that goes, completely speedy. They've got to throw some curveballs at you.
Yeah. It's like the Baron alt gauntlets with a lot of fish that are weak to lightning, and then they throw those electric fish at you that are absorb lightning. Like, it's just rude.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's one of my one of the things I remember from my vanilla days. Use ice against them. Don't use lightning.
The best part about those fish is they are flying fish.
Oh, that I did not know.
They don't look flying, but they are flying. It's weird.
FF4 things, right?
Yep. There are so many weird little things in FF4.
K&H gonna give us our second taste of music there. So if you are a big fan of Secret of Mana, you are in for an extended listen to that.
Yep, we'll be having our second dose of music, and likely a 4, but we don't know for sure if this Darkness Crystal is required. Because unless the Darkness Crystal gates the pass, we could totally not have to go to the moon.
Very interesting Groundfire going for this watery pass to check this character. Wonder if they're gonna take this edge. I would think over that Porum. No, they're going to take it over that cane. It's interesting.
That's a Palom, not a Porum.
Oh, a Palom. Excuse me.
That might be why.
Yeah, that's a little different. You keep a Palom.
Yes.
The sprite through
Palom is regarded as one of the better characters in the randomizer by many people who play it.
Yes, myself included. No, you don't ditch a Palom. No, you just don't do it. Certainly not this early in the game.
Yes, I'm always partial to Palom. I sometimes will take Paloms when I really probably shouldn't. It's one of my little faults in this game, but I can say that I will not ditch a Palom early on.
Well, it's the early access to Quake is really what it comes down to. I mean, it's just so easy to get him up to those levels he needs. Ground Flyer, unfortunately, finding out that that no free key item flag is on, so does not get that key item, but will check out some of the loot in Troya while they're there.
Yep, unfortunately, as Plumerian Knight has shown us, we will have to fight Demist for that Baron key. That's a Silent Staff, not bad, in this public treasury. But nothing much else of note.
Strength Ring, I think. That's
it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than nothing.
Well, if you're here anyway, you figure why not? It's a lot of loot to check, so.
Indeed. Looks like Plumerian Knight is just flying everywhere with this hovercraft.
I can kind of understand, if you... I'm trying to think the thought process, if you raise it...
Sorry, I guess it's like if you have the hovercraft, you think about maybe going to the hook route, and then you decide, no, I'm going somewhere else. You may as well take the hovercraft with you so you don't have to fly back to Dampian if you're not going to go there.
Yeah, or maybe you figure maybe I pull a rat or pinktail out of this, because we do have adamants available. So if you get a pinktail, you're getting an adamant armor. Another thing about the hovercraft is, if you drop it somewhere, or sometimes it's just good to keep it with you so you don't fly somewhere and then think, where did I put that hovercraft?
Indeed, especially if you've taken it away from Dampian or Cave Eblon or the Adamant Grotto. If it's not in one of those three places, you don't generally want to leave it somewhere that's not one of those three. Because I know once you start taking it out of those three places where it is useful or spawns, it's very easy to lose track of.
I'm fallen victim to that many times, as Plumerian Knight is seeing elements here at the first Baron boss spot. Shouldn't have too many difficulties, especially with that, if they can get that ice brand off on that cane.
Yep, that Ice 2 coming out from Palom should do it here.
That works a little better too.
But it looks like Rumblefish is heading into the Giant of Babil.
Now, what do you think the play is here? To get their D-Machine grind on, perhaps?
Perhaps. We do know that, Rumblefish knows that it's most likely a hook seed at this point. And is probably thinking, I want to dive the hook route, but may not feel comfortable having the levels to dive the hook route. Now, we know that the Rubicon spot is completely free, but the King Queen Eblon spot could still be quite rude, and Rumblefish does not know what's waiting at the Rubicon spot, so thinking maybe better take it safe and sorry and grind, or might be thinking grinding up and heading to Cave Bahamut super early.
It's not a bad play. I mean, you have to do a grind of some kind, you figure, since moon bosses aren't required. So, it's either find sirens and get to 10 key items, or, just do a grind now. That way you have all your levels set and you can check anything, with impunity, pretty much at that point.
Yeah. Uh, I definitely don't fault this play, because getting levels early can often be a huge help. But I don't think the single D machine was what we were looking for.
No, I don't think so either. And they might be, you know, um, certainly it's been a surprise to me when I've tried to just, go for it, not use the manipulation chart to find your D machine grind. It can be a little off-putting to actually come across just a single D machine, and can kind of throw you for a loop.
Yep, but does get a week off on the D machine, and gets the experience on at least Kane, Sid, and Porum.
Yeah, and it's only one fight, so like you said, this isn't the spot to hope to get your XP from.
Yep. But even that 40,000 experience is still a significant amount at this point.
We see K and H going through Eblin. You wonder now, they buy some exits, but you wonder if they're going to go for that hook route now, or they're just going to just loot and leave. As Plumeronite decides to not take that Rydia out of Baron, which I certainly do not blame them at all in the least.
Well, I don't think we could have asked for much freer hook route, as we have the karate fight at the first spot. This spot is punchy, but it doesn't give experience, so you're not usually worried about keeping people alive, and Cecil can defeat this fight after its second kick.
But as you said, very, very punchy though. I mean, doing 480 to that Cecil, 900 to that Fu, so it's not completely free. They're going to have to put in a little work to, to make this happen.
Indeed. But if Groundfire can get lucky here and get through this karate, then all that's left is to use maybe an Hourglass on the Kaipo guards fight behind this, and he'll be our first runner underground.
Yeah, this would be the play I would make, knowing who that second spot is. That's just my personal feeling. You figure, just let me just get underground. Actually, Ground Flyer just got through it, so good for them. They triggered the ouch script, which I think happens after 3 Cecil hits as Paladin Cecil, from what I understand.
It's just the first hit that happens after the second kick, or after a certain point right before the second kick.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No specific number of hits required. That can be the first hit in the fight that Cecil takes. Does not matter. Young just has to get through a certain amount of his script.
And not to overshadow Plumeronite, deciding to loot those 3 chests in the middle of Baron where that boss is, pulls a glass hat out of one of those chests, which is very nice if they do come across a punchy spot.
Yeah, Plumeronite is going to be really set, especially having found the Earth Crystal from that Baron pot, which gives us access to the best place to loot, the Troya Treachery.
Oh, absolutely.
And means that our dreams of Magma Key on the Overworld are still not dead.
Yes, you figure if you loot that treasury, maybe at that point you just say, I'll just go up Zod and just see, take a look at the characters and see what the key item is.
Well, we may not end up having that vanilla Magma Key, but we do have Vanilla Odin. Edge with Thunderclaw might be able to do some work here.
Well, 1800 good. it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be tricky, but I'm going to be rooting for them to hopefully get through it.
We saw Swag Rocks come out on Groundfire's side against the Kaipo guards, now down to just the officer. But the magic's power at the Odin spot is pretty high, and so you're not surviving the Odin attacks.
You know, and as Chad points out, you know, you do have Kane. You can time a jump over that Odin spot, or that over that Odin. But for me, that's tricky timing. You know, if you're a more experienced runner, I'm sure that's not an issue for you. But it's not one, me personally, that I would want to rely on. But
yeah, the timing is not too bad at Battle Speed 3 with a Relative Agility 1 setup, but I don't think Plumeria Knight has the agility anchoring that would be necessary to make that timing relatively easy. So yeah, it looks like he's going to be heading out of Baron Castle and moving on to another place. Looks like he's heading maybe for that Tower's Up. But
Groundfire at about 45 minutes has made it through. Those Kaipo guards is in our first player on our restream that is underground.
Yep. Underground got Nuke on Fu. This is looking like a smooth sailing seed for Groundfire, but that Golbez at the top of the lower Babel might have something to say otherwise.
Yeah, I managed to peep that as well. That spot has a lot of HP. You know, I don't know if you have... Yeah, I think you started with Star Veils in this kit, if I'm not mistaken. So you can get through it. It's just going to be just, you know, it's just going to be a long check.
Yep. And Golbez isn't even nice enough to help you very much at that spot, as that spot has very low magic power. Meaning his Lit 3s, which are the most powerful spells he does, probably going to do about 500 damage, maybe.
We see K and H taking a Mad Ogre chest here, wondering if they're just hoping for, you know, maybe a tier 7 item out of this. Going to be getting a life glitch off, so maybe getting some XP as well.
Yeah, this Mad Ogre chest is a nice little mini grind that a lot of runners will take on the way down the hook route, especially with that Rune Axe, I believe, from the hook route, and being able to get all these life glitches. Groundfire, meanwhile, has shown us the Sylph's item, which is a white spear. Unfortunately, that does require a cane to wield, although I guess Edge could dart it.
Very nice dartable weapon, absolutely, but still not one you want to see, but still is going to be able to give us 2 checks when they, you know, come back, which is, I would imagine, where he is going to be heading.
Yep, and it looks like Plumeria Knight is going to be showing us playing our favorite game of
Rate that treasury?
Well, Excal's already in here. That's already at least a 7.
That's, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm biased. I have a Cecil, that's a 10 out of 10 right there. I see an Excal, I'm doing a little jig, I'm doing a dance.
You gotta be
very happy.
A little bit more sparing with your ratings. You can't rate it a 10 until
I'm very biased.
Never mind, there's a crystal sword and a power shirt and an adamant armor. It's a 10 out of 10.
And an adamant? Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay.
Also, Magma Key on Overworld Dream is dead, as Sheila 1 had that Magma Key. So looks like that hook route is required, although not a very difficult hook route.
Now, so for right now, we have K and H. Their ground flyer's already taken care of it. Plumera, I guess I would think, be the next one, or perhaps Rumblefish once they get through their grind. It'll be interesting to see where they choose to go after they get their grind done.
Yeah, the one thing that is nice about Flareon Knight doing this whole overworld rabbit hole is it's going to get him so much power. Although it looks like Groundfire has found that demist.
That's right. We'll get our, I would think they're going to go right for that, right for that key item check. So that's going to be very interesting if that ends up being a legend sword or an adamant, because I don't believe we have seen one yet.
We have not.
Seen adamant armor, but it's not the same thing.
Nope. Unfortunately, you can't use the adamant armor to forge the to give to Kokol to forge.
Yeah, that is a shame. Figure break it down into its original elements, but
like I feel like that's such a huge sacrifice. You're sacrificing an adamant armor.
True, but also we did see that missed because that Baron key was what we got out of that. Okay.
Yeah. Plumeria just happened to do every other overworld check before coming back to turn in to get the demist item. But it looks like Plumeria Knight is going to be giving us our third round of music. As Groundfire might be looking to head into Baron Castle chasing after this Baron key.
Again, knowing you have a hook route, not the bad play to make. It would be one I would certainly make. Going to be using that in, because the funny thing is, with these starting kits, and I think this was a recent addition to the flags, you're not starting with a basic utility kit. You're starting with more weapons, rather than potions, tents, and cabins. So you may be kind of used to having them, where in this particular flag set, you're not getting those.
Yep. The kits we start with are the Trap Chest kit and the Mist kit. The Trap Chest kit having a few hourglasses, a few mute bells, and I believe an assassin dagger. And yes. Mist kit having a bunch of dancing daggers, which is why all of our runners
daggers, a tiara, and a change rod.
Yep, all of our runners have been using the dancing daggers, and then the tiara and the change rod are nice, but not the most useful if your party doesn't have people who can use the tiara.
K&H getting that unfortunate news that they're picking up that white spear from Young One Check.
Yep. No key item from the Sylphs tonight. And without that cane, that's not even a good weapon for anyone in their party.
I have to be honest, I have not been paying attention too much to Rumblefish's screen to see how many D machines they've gone through. I have to imagine it's a lot.
I'm guessing this is a play for Z levels right now.
Oh, if you're going through this, you do Z levels, because it just makes more sense to do that instead of doing a half grind and then doing another grind later.
Yep, indeed. And looks like Groundfire is getting some nice routing efficiency on Baron. Hadn't done Baron in yet, so gets through Baron in now, and is now going to be heading into, well, first the Baron shops, and then maybe we'll see if he goes into Baron Castle. Plumeria Knight getting his Darkness Crystal. Well, K&H is heading down into the Fey March. Will be our first runner to show us who the bosses are down here.
Unfortunately for Ground Flyer, doesn't know that there is an Earth Crystal relatively easily available. We'll be selling some stuff to buy that light sword. Well, no, they thought about it. They're actually holding off on buying that light sword.
Yep, that light sword is rather expensive.
I missed the key item check on K&H's side. I didn't see what they'd gotten. I don't know if you did or chat did.
I did not. I was looking away to see if Groundfire was going to head into Baron, which it looks like he is doing. Asakura Restreamer pointing out that it was the pass.
Oh, that's interesting. Good.
That is spicy, because that means if the Adamant and Legend Sword aren't either at Cape Bahamut or behind a rabbit hole from Cape Bahamut, this music check is not required.
That's very interesting. Yeah. So most of our racers on stream, I think we're up to 3 now that I have checked it.
Yep, I believe only Groundflyer has not yet checked that Twin Harp. But it looks like Rumblefish has plenty of levels. Should be able to take on anything he wishes to in the rest of his seed. Pomeranian stocking up on Sirens in Troya as K&H is resting at the inn in the Feymarch, getting ready to perhaps take a peek at these Feymarch bosses.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. You know, I'm not sure what free bosses are really left at this point, but it's recon if nothing else.
I mean, we haven't seen King Queen Epsilon or Water Hag.
Both would be nice to see here.
Those are bosses that would be very nice to see. Although Water Hag in the Feymarch is a little bit of free with an asterisk.
Right, you're not getting everybody XP, you're getting some people XP.
Oh no, that is not a free Feymarch.
That is the opposite of free.
That is a disgusting Feymarch. This Dark Knight Cecil, yeah, that's what you're dealing with.
I mean, if you're K&H, you at least just see how much damage you're dealing with if you don't know offhand. So you say, okay, well, am I anywhere close? And then K&H's side, you say, nope, my levels in HP are nowhere near where I need them to be to survive, you know, really even one wave.
Yep. And those Maga Sisters are going to be rude as well. Yep, the Sirispot is fast and has very strong magic attack, so...
Well, it looks like they're going to try it.
Mindy's spells are going to be going burr.
You know what? I was looking at Rumblefish's screen to see what they pulled out of that trap chest and giant, and they went so fast I didn't even catch it.
Chat says it was another Excal, which is very nice for Rumblefish. At least makes up a little bit of that time. Although, Rumblefish does not have Cecil.
And, well, they have an edge. I mean, you have an edge, you can throw it.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's nice. That's the nice thing about getting an Excal when you don't have Cecil, is at least you can still throw it with edge. Whereas...
Feels wrong.
The Crystal Sword you can't throw. It's too big. Edge can't throw it.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling, is getting a Crystal Sword and then just having it sit there. I mean, it's money. It's at least you can sell it.
Yep. Oh, how nice. The pot on the way into Odin has a Thunderclaw in it.
That is very convenient for this vanilla Odin spot.
Yep, and... Was that a casual White Spear sitting in Cape Bahamut?
It was, just hanging out there. You know, you now have 2 if you went to go check Yang.
Rumblefish has not been underground yet, so that's going to be a huge upgrade for him. Also, Bahamut is in Cave Bahamut.
Okay. Okay.
You can chuck white spears.
Wow, K&H, whatever they did, I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to their screen. Got through that Maga Sister spot. Unfortunately, only gets a power shirt to show for it, but good work by them.
Yeah. Looks like took advantage of Fu's Quakes to get through, to get Mindy down. And once Mindy's down, the fight becomes a lot more manageable. Chad is getting mad that I said Bahamut was here, and now we have Dr. Luge. I was referring to the Bahamut summon that was in a random chest.
Well, and we're also referring, I think we're also referring, or chat, I would think be referring to, this is not a great place to find this boss, I don't think.
This is not a terrible place. After you get through the first phase, the second phase does not punch at all, and this boss does not have very good magic attack.
Yes, that's actually a very good point.
But it looks like now K&H is heading up the lower part of the tower. Babel Groundfire got a rat tail out of the Baron basement, got through that Odin, and is rewarded with that rat tail turn-in. And Pomeranian Knight looks to be maybe thinking about doing this Cave Bahamut, following Rumblefish into Cave Bahamut. He's taking some King Ryus.
Decent source of XP, I suppose, although you don't have 10 key items, so I'm not sure, how much they're hoping to get out of this.
I believe it's still 90,000 per fight if you do get the life glitch off, which Pomeranian Knight does.
Iron Flyer, meanwhile, will be turning in that rat tail, and is going to be rewarded with an adamant, so that is required.
And also vanilla. Is this even randomized?
At this point, I'm starting to wonder.
Antlion in the Super Cannon room melted away on K&H's screen. Not even time to mention it. She went into the room. I saw Antlion going through the death animation, and then she was out.
We're very happy to see Antlion there, that's for sure.
Ooh, but we have a chain from Cave Value. It's the Luca key.
You don't hate it, I guess. It is a key item. That's great, but then that just gives you something else to think about, which is very interesting. Because they still haven't been underground yet, right? Because they did their grind.
Nope. Rumblefish has not been underground.
But if that Luca key ends up turning out to be the Legend Sword, that could be very, very spicy.
Indeed, and I don't... Yeah, we're starting to run out of checks already. I think we're down to just that Dark Knight Cecil, that Luca key, whatever comes out of these lower Babel checks that K&H is doing. And that's about it. Oh, Dwarf Castle as well. No one has done Dwarf Castle yet.
Did we do the pan check?
I believe we have. I believe Sheila just gave us a... Oh, what was it? It was 2 key items, a magma key, right, and a siren, I think. I think Sheila 2 was a siren. It was not particularly useful.
Ground flyer, right? Kind of saying which is the least bad option here.
Based on K&H's experience with these Fame Rush bosses, I would say the Magus Sisters are the least bad, but Groundfire says nope, neither of them. An interesting point, Rumblefish has not done Antlion yet.
I don't know when I've seen our Antlion check. Good on them for remembering they hadn't done that yet.
Indeed, it's not going to take very long. But does pick up that package, which is very good. That'll take care of his second objective.
Yeah, you like to see that. You're glad that he went back there to go get that, because being this long in a seed, it's very, very easy to forget some of these overworld checks that you would normally do early in the seed.
Indeed. Looks like K&H got through that top of tower boss and didn't get anything, or took a wipe, but I'm guessing got through it since Golbez is usually one of those bosses that's not too much of a threat.
Last I looked, I saw a nuke, and then, okay, so Smopty pointing out that Sand Ruby was at Golbez, so, wah.
I mean, it's another character if any of our runners have any concerns about their party.
Potential anchoring, maybe?
Perhaps.
K&H about to give us this cannon room key item check. Well, Zeus gauntlets are nice, but not what you're looking for. So now you're wondering, is it behind this Luca key now at this point? Or behind Dwarf Castle?
There's always DKC.
There is always DKC, which I would imagine, other than maybe Rumblefish, everyone else is going to fade until the very end.
Yep, that DKC is not a pleasant fight.
Yeah, as chat points out, if that Legends sword isn't sealed, then that kind of puts Rumblefish in the in the driver's seat.
Indeed. Looks like Groundfire is following a little bit in K&H's footsteps, is heading up to the top of the Tower of Babel. Will be getting his Sand Ruby and Zeus gauntlets.
K&H about to find out who that first Lunar Sparkle boss is. I don't know. Pale Dim, I want to guess. Oh
no, it's
Nope Rope.
It's the Nope Rope. I mean, it could have been worse. We could have had this down in the sealed cave.
Yeah, you don't hate to see this here, and Nuke, I would think, would take care of this pretty quickly.
Nuke not going to do it at this spot. This spot has some HP. Two nukes, that might do it.
Very punchy, though, doing 500 to that Cecil.
Yep, this spot is often underestimated, I find, but it can be quite rude.
But as you mentioned, two nukes, that will certainly do it for Nope Rope.
As K&H gets through that Ogopogo, looks like Pumeria Knight has decided to take on the Dr. Luge in Cave Bahamut, and Rumblefish is headed underground.
The day you find a crystal arm in a chest and you say no to it because your inventory's full.
Inventory's full, no Cecil, why bother?
Yeah.
I think the dwarves have a noodle problem.
It would appear to be. Yeah, there's a little bit of an overflow of noodles here.
Yeah, must be a leak from the oceans of the overworld.
Well, Fu is the master of noodles, as he has pretty much single-handedly cleared through both of those noodles.
Yep. Dwarf Castle not standing up much of a chance to a Fui's nuke.
Waiting on finding out K&H's key item check. Now, unfortunately, the warp glitch is not on, so anybody that wants to do Sealed Cave, they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to run through it to get that key item. Does get a pink tail, which is nice.
That's another Adam armor.
There's another adamant armor, but I think now we know where we need to go, which is great for Rumble. Not so much for the other runners. You know, K&H kind of looking at their key items, wondering, what did I miss? What route am I supposed to go now?
One thing I will point out for Rumblefish is that adamant was gated by that Baron key on D-Mist, so well, if Rumblefish gets this Legend Sword out of the sealed cave, Rumblefish still has to go check the waterfall boss for the D-Mist and dive that Baron key and go through Baron Basement.
The good thing is that well, now Mist Cave is required. Waterfall is not. Yeah, that's.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy.
So, yeah, this could lead to a lot of rabbit holes for sure. Speaking of the waterfall boss, it looks like K&H might be checking this waterfall boss. And we'll be finding her D-Mist very shortly.
Yeah, again, I mean, you know, kudos on racers like that, you know, and her to remember that this is here to check. And right, very much getting rewarded for this. You know, I can't stress enough how easy it is if you're a racer to just completely skip those overworld, you know, checks, especially if it's just a simple boss check.
Indeed,
you know,
and especially with, you know, the other two boss checks that don't correspond to key items being objectives, it's like, well, I'm going to check these two, I may as well just not check the other one, because what are the odds that the one boss check that isn't an objective is D-Mist?
Right. What are the odds that one of them's D-Mist, and then what are the odds that that check actually has to be something that you need?
Yep. No, I've definitely been in that mindset racing before, and almost lost a race because of it.
I have done it many times. I will tell you, I will probably forget again in the future. You know, as fun as this is to watch, I'm almost kind of glad I'm not racing it, just so I wouldn't, you know, be stuck in that position of saying, gee, where is my, you know, last key item I need here, and realizing I faded, you know, watery pass the whole time.
Yep. So Rumblefish has made it underground. Kind of nerdy. K&H is finishing up in Mist, getting blocked a little bit by these Mist NPCs, which only spawn after you've defeated D-Mist.
Yeah, that's always a funny little quirk. Now they did pick up a curse ring. They decided to loot that chest in the upper right, so that's a nice little pickup to find for some late game anchoring.
Indeed. Curse ring will take your Fu and turn him into a pretty fine anchor, if you really don't have anyone else who can function as an anchor.
There are plenty of you know, plenty of characters just hanging out in the city. I'm sure that would love to come along and just be used as a pretty much an empty spot to be your agility anchor.
Indeed. The only problem with going to Mysidia is Mysidia takes time. But indeed, it looks like Rumblefish is going to be chasing this Luca key, as Marionite is heading into the Baron Basement to pick up his rat tail, which leads to the Vanilla Adamant.
we'll have the levels to handle, I would think, pretty much anything that's thrown in this spot. So that's good. So, it makes you wonder, what are our other racers going to do? Are they going to eventually do any kind of grind? Will they need to? I guess it depends on who is in this spot.
Yep. I mean, our runners do need to fight Zeromus, so everyone will probably need to do some sort of grind at some point. But for a lot of runners, that might end up just being an egg grind.
I know it's my preferred choice, especially if I get up to 10 key items. I have a stack of sirens. It's very quick, very easy to do, doesn't require manipulation. I don't know, just my personal feelings on it.
Indeed, and speaking of 10 key items, I believe Plumeria Knight and Groundfire are both at 10 key items already, with Kinda Nerdy Housewife getting very close. Well, we have no mode.
We have, yeah, we right. We know everything now. It's just a question of the racers, finding out everything. And of course, Rumblefish still has to fight a Bahamut, so not the worst thing to see here.
Well, Bahamut got delayed a little bit. Instead of going through Cave Bahamut and finding Bahamut, you go through Cave Bahamut to fight Bahamut's minion, Dr. Luge. So Dr. Luge can give you the key to get to the sealed cave, where Bahamut actually resides.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you can't just sit in a cave that's named after yourself. You have to be in a special cave that you can only access by overcoming a trial in the cave that's named after yourself.
I actually rather like that. I also just get a kick out of going to Cave Bahamut and getting a key item you need. I mean, you don't want to have to do it, but if you're gonna do it, I'd like to, find something for my troubles that will lead me to my go mode.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Plumeria Knight is running up the Tower of Zot, having grabbed the rat tail out of the Baron basement, but I don't think has turned it in yet.
Have we seen anybody actually go through? Did Groundfire go through Zot? I don't remember.
I don't believe Groundfire has gone through Zot, because I don't think Groundfire has even opened the treasury yet. So this will be our first peek at the Tower of Zot.
But at this point, we're just looking. They're not going to get rewarded with a key item from this. They're just going to get just a high tier item.
Well, it could be the spoon.
It's a nice quad 9 throwable weapon.
Yeah.
Like and as as our restreamer Asuka points out, big thanks to our tracker Smopty for keeping track of all this. We have the easier job of commentating. They have the much harder job of actually keeping track of all these key items, of all these bosses, of everything. So kudos to them.
Yeah, tracking 4 people is not easy. But it looks like Groundfire is going to fulfill the quad music at last. Going to give us our lovely twin harp tunes.
Unfortunately, it has to deal with one of the other bosses of the game, which is tracking down that black chocobo and talking to it in order to engage it. And sometimes they do not want you to fly on them, apparently.
Yep, K&H getting the 10 out of 10 treasury. Finding all of the good stuff there that'll definitely speed up the rest of her run. Tossing all those power shirts?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, Adamant Crystal Sword Cecil is enough. Adamant Crystal Sword Cecil goes burr and doesn't care about anything else.
Yes, very true. Very true. Like I said, it's my preferred method of getting through Z or getting through most of the game.
We had a Sid and an Edge up in the Tower of Zot.
Well, unfortunately, don't have an overflow of ninja weapons tonight, so...
Nope, no second Edge. And it's a Sarah. So that's interesting. We had a Leviathan show up in the Tower of Zot because the second spot of... No, that was Ogo showing up in the second spot. No, it was Leviathan.
Ogo was in the first spot and Leviathan was in the second
Leviathan
spot.
showed himself in the front of Zot, and then Asura shows up when you actually fight the boss. That's funny. But as Groundfire is doing this music check, which is required, Rumblefish is heading down into the Fey March to maybe see what's behind Dark Knight Cecil.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It could be DKC could certainly have the spoon. You got to think they have the HP to get through it. I mean, at least I would.
It looks like it does have the spoon, but Zot was not pointless. That was an Avenger from the Tower of Zot.
That is very, worth it. Yes, finding an Avenger is always nice. I don't care where you are in the game.
Yeah, if Plumeria Knight's Crystal Sword Adamant Armor Cecil wasn't going to go before, try permanently Berserked Crystal Sword Adamant Armor Cecil.
Yeah, just pumping out a ridiculous amount of damage every turn. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Plumeria Knight's going to have any issues. Has Plumeria Knight not been underground yet?
I want to say they were our first ones, but I could be wrong unless they're doing some shopping.
Nope, walking right by the shops. I believe Groundfire was the first underground. And while we weren't paying attention... Okay, Scala correcting. He has been underground.
What do you think the play is here, then?
I don't know. That Fu being there tells me he has not been underground.
That is very interesting. Meanwhile, that's happening, Rumblefish does get that spoon from that DKC, so that's a key item.
Yep. While we were talking about other things, we have missed a leg a second time in the Tower of Zot as KNH is past our favorite leg.
Yeah, I mean, you have that Fu. We're gonna miss a lot of things with with those nukes flying off on these overworld checks.
Yeah, especially with Crystal Sword Adamant Armor Cecil.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, Crystal Sword Adamant Armor Cecil just goes burr. Yeah, so this has been a really interesting divergence. We have some runners like Groundfire just now getting the Darkness Crystal and just getting access to the moon. Well, Plumeria Knight has not even been underground yet, but has that Luca key, which will be a piece of his go mode.
Yeah, it's hard to say, actually, to be honest with you, really, who is in the true lead. I mean, you have KNH who doesn't have that Luca key yet. You have Plumeria Knight who does. I don't know. I have very much trouble figuring out who is going, who's really in the lead here.
Yeah, I would say at a like hesitantly Pumerionite, because Pumerionite does have both the Luca Key and that Rat Tail. So has everything that leads into the required items for Forge, but hasn't picked up either of the two items.
Yeah, it hasn't been to Misttown to pick up that key item, or I don't even know if they fought that Mist Dragon, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe Pumerionite did fight the Mist Dragon. I think the only runner who hasn't fought the Mist Dragon yet is Rumblefish.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right on that, because that's the issue, is will Rumblefish hopefully have the wherewithal to check that overworld spot. If I'm Rumblefish, I will completely forget it at this point and exhaust every option.
There's so many other checks at this point. You have the Tower Key, you have the Pan, you had that Fate March, you have Dwarf Castle. There's all these other attractive checks in the Underground, and value being behind a demist at an overworld location that's out of the way is not something you'd expect. Because keep in mind, Rumblefish is making these checks thinking, oh, I might find a demist in one of these checks, and then I might not have to check anything on the overworld.
Right. Yeah, if you're Rumblefish, if I'm Rumblefish, I'm thinking, right, I might find that demist hanging out just on my way for, a other required key item check.
Yeah, those sneaky demists at those non-required boss spots can be very easy to miss, and once you miss them, it's very easy to just continue to avoid them until you are out of options.
The only good thing I will say about that is that K Moon is off, so we, as long as all of our runners know that, remember that, we will not be seeing, any Moon is haunted, emotes or chatter about that. So hopefully no one will think to go check the moon.
Well, I mean, the moon's already not haunted since cave value had value.
True, yeah. Lunar subterrae, I guess, at that point.
Yeah. And I guess technically the lunar subterranean could have a demist with value, which would be the real troll.
Oh my goodness.
I'm liking this overworld demist because it's not actually trolly. You don't have to go to the lunar subterranean. But if you miss that early demist, you miss that early demist, and you can easily just miss that early demist for a long time.
And while that happened, Coffee and Chocoboos has finished first. Not part of our restream tonight, but finished first with a time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 24 seconds. So GG's to them.
GG's. Groundfire finishing his run through the Tower of Zot will get rewarded with that Avenger.
Not to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I happen to catch this in chat. Your preferred method of pronouncing Cecil or Cecil? I'm more of a Cecil, but
I am also someone who says Cecil.
But if there's anything wrong with Cecil.
Yeah, no, all reasonable pronunciations are valid. By which I mean any reasonable interpretation of how any of the letters are pronounced in English, because English is weird. Totally valid.
Absolutely. There will be words I will pronounce that have only one pronunciation, and I will still find a way to mispronounce them. So,
Of course, now that I said that reasonable pronunciations of Cecil are valid, people are coming up with some interesting ways to pronounce Cecil.
Cecil, yeah.
I would not say Tootsie is a valid pronunciation of Cecil. Oh dear. Well, while Chad is memeing about the different ways that we can pronounce Cecil horribly wrong, KNH is turning in both of her tails, getting an adamant armor and that adamant. 2 vanilla items in one. I mean, the adamant armor is always vanilla, but gotta love that vanilla adamant from the Adamant Grotto.
Yep, you don't hate to see that. Now, did they do their Mist Dragon? I mean, look, I'm gonna be the first one to say I'm having difficulties keeping track of who has done what when it's come to Mist Dragon. Other than of course Rumblefish, but
KNH has done her Mist Dragon because the Baron Key is through that Mist Dragon, but has not yet gone to the moon and done Cave Value.
Yes, that's right.
I will accept Questle as a valid pronunciation of Cecil.
I mean, that's just adorable.
Questle is acceptable.
Absolutely adorable. Yeah, we can accept that. It looks like Ground Flyer, now that they have their 10 key items, is doing an egg grind. I didn't pick up if they picked up sirens or if they just had some lying around that they're using up.
I would guess that he picked some up because they were available in Troya, and he's been to Troya having done both the Twin Harp check and the Zot check, so...
Yeah,
I would assume picked those up then.
Yeah, but... they have 8 sirens in there, so they picked up a stack of 10, it looks like. Meanwhile, Possum Morpheus has finished second place with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 20 seconds. So GG's to Possum Morpheus.
Indeed, GG's.
KNH now raising the whale. Would hope that they are going to go right for that cave value check, and then hopefully get their go mode once they follow that through to its completion.
Fortunately for her, cave value is the only key item check on the moon. So as long as she knows that K-Moon is off, won't be distracted by any of those lunar subterranean checks.
Ground Flyer as well, also going to be following right behind her.
Yep, I believe they've exhausted almost the entire blue planet, maybe leaving behind the Dark Knight Cecil in that Fame March, which I do not blame them for. Nobody wants to deal with Dark Knight Cecil at Leviathan.
I will reiterate, that will be my absolute last check. Yeah, if it comes down that that's required, then I will lose a race because of it. Not a problem.
I would generally agree that that is not a check I would do early. It might not be the absolute last check, depending on other things. Such
as...
Moon
is on. Right, and there's other rude bosses. Yeah, I would come back to that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, for example, a wyvern that has Witchburned to Odin as its starting attack at Asura would not be a boss I would do before DKC, but
that is yeah.
we
That
don't have Witchburn on, so that's not a concern.
FF4FE now has finished third place with a time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 41 seconds. GG's to PK.
GG's indeed. Flurry 14 just behind in fourth place with a time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 57 seconds.
Oh, that is a snipe. K&H, luckily realizing that K-Moon is off, and we'll do Dr. Talkie here and get their key item required and go through that loop, and might be the first one, on Restream tonight to get to Z.
We will see. Looks like Rumblefish, meanwhile, has thought to check this demist. I believe exhausted all of the checks in the underground.
Okay, so good. I'm good for them. So I stand corrected. They will probably absolutely be the first one to go to Z then.
Well, they still have to get through all of Baron Castle, which is not a very fast check.
That's true. That's true.
Although the sealed cave is not very fast for K&H either.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see how this ends up. Who's going to be the one to get there first? Both, yeah, like you said, both kind of long checks. Especially if you're Rumblefish and you decide not to go Baron Basement first and you go Throne, and you have to kind of sit through a little long cutscene there, back out, then come back in order to do that Baron Basement.
Yeah, that could be quite rude. But in the meantime, we do have a fifth place finisher. Tybalt has finished with a time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 40 seconds. GG's to Tybalt.
Yes, GG's to them. One thing I did not notice as Ground Flyers attempting to take out this DKC, they did pick up that Rydia to use as their anchor here. So not a bad play.
Yeah, without that curse ring from Mist, having to rely on the low-level Rydia with her very, very low agility stat as an anchor. Unfortunately, not quite surviving that last big wave.
Yeah, Rydia had, I believe it was Rydia had a Cure 3 queued up. It just came out just a touch too soon to make Cecil survive that third wave.
Yep. Bullfish now heading into Baron Castle will be facing off with the Elements and Mylon and friends.
Roger McBain has finished now in 6th place with a time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 13 seconds. GG to Roger McBain.
Yep, GG's. Looks like Groundfire has made it through that Dark Knight Cecil fight, will be rewarded with his spoon.
Rumblefish does just elect to go for that Baron throne to see Mylon and his friends there.
Unfortunately, this is not the correct play and might end up rabbit holing Rumblefish if he decides to chase the Earth Crystal.
That's a very easy. I mean, you hope since they have the levels, they'll say, let's just check that basement while we're here. You hope.
You do hope. And generally with levels, you're more inclined to stick around and check and be thorough about Baron Castle. KNH, meanwhile, looks like heading for the Fey March. Has found the Luka Key, but has decided to go back and clear out that Fey March before taking on the Sealed Cave.
And in the meantime, we have Microcourse coming in 7th place with a time 1 hour and 38 minutes and 52 seconds. And then right on their heels is Twisted Flex coming in 8th at 1 hour and 38 minutes and 53 seconds. GG's to both of them.
Yes, GG's to both of them.
Okay, and I don't know about you, but I am dying of anticipation of this objective number 1. It's hurting me that we're not seeing it yet.
I know. It's been... Oh my goodness, I've been holding in a question for so much.
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hold out at this point. Luckily, Rumblefish does decide to go back down to that barren basement. Meanwhile, Plumeria Knight going through that Luka cave to be getting...
Yep. Walked into the sealed cave and then walked out. Maybe forgot to save. Yeah, saving and healing before heading into the cave, just to make sure not to be able to reset out.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to know at this point this is their only option, but it's still not a bad idea to take a safety save outside, just in case maybe you did miss something, and if this isn't what you want, you can just reset out and load up your save.
Yep. Was Plumeria Knight hoping to do a door grind?
I'm not sure if they're just frozen up. Oh, just frozen up.
Just a stream thing. Rumblefish has now gotten his rat tail from the barren basement. Ditching those mute bells from the starter kit. We don't need those.
Yeah, I think we're past mute bells at this point. Poydrak, meantime, is coming 9th place with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 34 seconds. GG's to Poydrak.
GG's indeed. KNH has gotten the bad news about the spoon in the Fey March. We'll probably be heading to the Sealed Cave soon. Groundfire, meanwhile, is heading through Cave Bahamut to get his Luka Key. Plumeria Knight is about to find out about this Legend Sword. And Rumblefish is leaving Baron with the ability to turn in that rat tail, but I thought he was going to Troya for a second. Picking up the hovercraft.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's right. It's like, where did I last park that hovercraft? And when it's been this long in a seed, it's very easy to forget. Meanwhile, Sorbius has finished in 10th place with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 52 seconds. GG to Sorbius.
GG's. But it looks like Rumblefish is going to be the first of our runners. Well, actually no. Technically, Plumeria Knight's in go mode first, by just a hair. But almost simultaneous go modes for Plumeria Knight and Rumblefish.
Yeah, Rumblefish just has to defeat that boss on Miss Cave. Wonders if they're just going to go turn in which it looks like they are. So I'm going to turn it over to you now.
So I have a question I'd like to ask, since due to our Super Smith's flag, the item that Coco will forge is randomized. It's no longer going to be an Excal. So, which weapon will Coco forge tonight?
So, instead of that Excals you mentioned, we're going to be getting a Final Fantasy IV advanced weapon in its place, completely randomized. As a
Crystal swords for sale.
crystal sword.
Oh no, it's a dragon claw. No one can use that.
Oh, that's sad. I mean, it's go mode, it's crystal, but I'm sure it's a great weapon. But just for
Oh, it's an amazing weapon for Yang. But who keeps Yang?
well, the important thing is we did get to see it. So
Yep. It's very nice to see.
did they? Okay, so they. I was confused at first. They do have their crystal, so yeah, they are now going to be heading to, I believe, the final boss of the game. If this is the way this works.
I believe. But I believe there are flags coming out in chat. So I think there's a question that we need to ask if you want to do the honors, Lady SSJ.
Yeah, so I think the question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
I was going to go with, is it nap time yet? But I like your question better.
I think nap time is a little past, unless you're, someone who works overnight. I don't know if it's nap time, but then again, sleep is always good.
In all seriousness, we couldn't move the final boss like we move all the other bosses around, so we had to do something special to randomize him. So instead of randomizing his location, we randomized his sprite, which means that we will be seeing which sprite we're getting very shortly. It's Animalsmas!
Oh, that is great. That is I was looking at the big sprite at first, but then saw the smaller ones and realized this is a Super Metroid reference. This is amazing.
Yep. I mean, you gotta kill the animals.
Do you? Oh, I always save them when I leave.
I am firmly on team kill the animals.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, in this case, we really have to. If you don't kill the animals, you don't finish.
Well, that's kind of true. Yeah, I guess you're kind of forced to kill them, as sad as that is.
Yep. I mean, when the animals are hurling big bangs at you, they've lost all their innocence.
Yeah, I think your only recourse at that point is to retaliate. Yeah.
Yeah. They listen. The animals started it. I guess technically we did start it by using the crystal.
Yeah, but we're kind of forced to. Otherwise, we'd just be stuck in an infinite loop, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, the crystal doesn't do damage. It's not We just made the animals come out. And now... Oof. Oh, that was a nasty big bang. Helm going down there.
Yeah, it's kind of an awkward setup here. I'm not sure how much, Porm can heal for, and the more targets you have, that's just more healing that you have to distribute around. Plus now it has that white going out, so this could be...
Oh!
Sid taking that white.
Oh no. Poor Sid.
We do have Plumeria at Z as well, going through theirs. Looks like they're going through like Zerker strats, I believe.
Yep, with a much more Zerk-heavy party having that crystal sword. Definitely making some good progress against the animals. Meanwhile, KNH and Groundfire are wrapping up their Forge objectives and getting their crystals to head to their Z fights, so we will be finishing up on all 4 streams pretty shortly.
Yeah, Rumblefish, seems to have gotten their situation under control, so, good on them. Well, I say that as a Big Bang takes out that poor Porum.
Oh, Virus, no! Oh. Palom with 1 HP, tossing the nuke.
Oh. Yeah, as chat points out, commentator Jenks, I apologize. That's unfortunate.
It's fine. It's hard to coordinate not talking over each other when we're not in the same room, but...
Well, I just meant about Rumblefish. I thought I had their... they're getting their Cure 4 back up, so... It's just awkward with that Porum at that 2000 HP. It's just very easy for that Big Bang to come out and just wipe her.
Yeah, Porum is not strong.
And actually, in the meantime, Plumera Knight has finished on stream. There was an issue they were having. They had a blizzard come through, so it's might be a little confusing, but they actually did finish at 12th place at 1 hour and 43 minutes and 11 seconds. And our first racer on Restream night to finish, and I believe they're going to be coming in here for an interview.
GG's to Plumera.
All right, I believe we are joined by Plumera Knight. GG's on your finish. Hopefully your internet issues didn't, throw you off too much, but you're able to finish at a very well respectable time. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, that was just one of those fun seeds, I think. I really enjoyed it. Sorry if it wasn't very watchable. Blizzards,
Yeah. We could see most of what was going on. It froze every now and then, but you were fine. It's nothing you could control.
Good. That's good.
We didn't miss a single key item check from you.
Oh, that's great. Good. That's a relief.
Yeah, you have initial thoughts, on kind of this flag set, especially with that Cocoa Forge objective. giving out, a advanced weapon now instead of an X-Cal.
Yeah, with the wildish and wild treasures and shops, it's a little, um, not as great, I guess. But I do like. I mean, if I wish I had Yang for that God Hand or Dragon Claw that I got, because it's a really great weapon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But overall, I was really hoping that tower key would be my ticket to getting through the seed a little quicker, but that ended up not being the case.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a Zeus Gauntlet, which is, a nice item, but not, I'm sure, what you were hoping for.
Yeah, not even worth keeping. I just reset out of it to check top the tower.
Yep. How about that treasury, though?
It was great, except I felt like my characters were already pretty outfitted.
Yeah,
I think the
watching-
adamant armor was in there.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, watching
Yeah.
from the booth, we saw the X-Cal and we're like, okay, this is a decent treasury. And then we saw the Crystal Sword and we're like, okay, never mind, this is a great treasury. Then we saw the Power Shirt, and then we saw the Adamant Armor.
Yeah, I got the
Amazing treasury.
Power Shirt and I'm like, okay, well that's great. And then I got the adamant armor, and as I go to equip the Power Shirt, I'm Cecil. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've seen a treasury that amazing for Cecil, especially in a long time.
Yeah, that was a fun scene. And those kinds of key item hunts, those are always fun. You never know what other people are gonna do with their routes, and if you're gonna be able to get there first or not.
Yeah, I was a little curious. What drove you to go for that moon play before touching the underground?
I think it was the pass was a key item, or in a key item location. So I thought there was a chance I could get that at some point, and I just thought the dragon grind was the best option on the table. So with the purchasable hourglasses and crystal sword and dragoon spear available.
Makes sense. I mean, the seed gave you all the tools you needed to do that grind, so you may as well do it as early as possible.
Yeah, and it was really efficient too. I wasn't budgeting for that much experience actually. I got more than I bargained for.
Yeah, it turns out you didn't need all that much, which was great for you.
Yeah, the seed didn't really have that many trolley bosses until you got to the Fey March, and then...
What was in the Fey March?
Oh, the Fey March bosses were DKC at Leviathan and Maga Sisters at Asura.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those would have been fun.
Yep, fortunately neither was required.
Yeah. Yeah, that Odin got me. That was, I think, the only boss I really struggled with. I struggled early just from a little bit of rust and mismenuing.
It didn't show from our end. You played pretty good from what we could see. Kat, any other questions, or Plumeria, do you have any other thoughts?
I've got no other specific questions, so if you have any final thoughts, Plumeria?
No, it's just a fun seed. Really thanks for the restream and doing cons and tracking and all that stuff. You guys make it a fun event to participate in. Thanks.
Thank you for volunteering to be restreamed, and it was a pleasure watching your race.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. GG's.
GG's again.
Okay. Meanwhile, K&H and Rumblefish did take wipes. Unfortunately, they're back in it. In the meantime, Ground Flyer has finished in 13th place, the time of 1 hour and 58 minutes and 2 seconds, and I believe they're joined with us now for an interview. GG's, Ground Flyer.
GG's, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Sure, push the talk's working. Oi!
Any initial thoughts about that seed before we?
I mean, yes. I felt okay. My two initial thoughts are, boy, I feel really bad about fading Moon as long as possible. I knew the one check was there. I was waiting for it, and I was like, I just hope it's one of the everything else, and it sure wasn't. And the other thing was, haha, I felt super good being like, I'm just gonna be cheeky and check that first tower chest I come across, and sure enough, it was a crystal sword.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, I don't blame you for fading that, moon check. It's just one check, and yeah, it is always a great feeling to pull a crystal sword out of the, the first check you pull out of a trap chest.
But yeah, obviously, otherwise I was not feeling tremendous. At the very beginning, the first couple of minutes, I was kind of scrambling around. I was having issues with my for whatever reason, my screen was running a little slow. So I was having feedback issues. I don't know. I think I fixed them eventually, but at the beginning, I was definitely skipping around, and that kind of tilted me for the first half an hour of play. But I did finally regain my composure and feel like I did a little bit better. But I definitely started off pretty slow.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you were the first, I believe, of our restream runners underground.
Oh, holy heck. I probably could have gone down there earlier, too. Well, okay, so part of that, though, is because I forgot to do Baron in. And I also forgot to do the waterfall check, which I did not forget the whole time, thankfully. But obviously, I think the waterfall was missed, and then missed had Baron key. So if I had done that instead, I would have spent a lot more time above ground first. But regardless, I ended up checking basically everything, so it was just a matter of what order I did it.
Yep.
I mean, it makes you feel any better. Everyone else, at least on the restream, pretty much had the same thought. I mean, some people went to underground a little bit later, but most everyone finished, either 16, 17, or very well close to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel too bad. I know I'm complaining, but mostly it's because I'm salty because, I know I could do better. Not to degrade on anyone else and how they're doing or anything, but I feel like the butt who's going to get kicked tonight is mine, and so especially with that tournament coming up, I need to get my skills down so I can do a little better. I definitely have some work to do.
Well, you have time. You have plenty of time to get ready for it. It's not until I believe the first week of March.
I think we still have a good 3 weeks.
Yeah, totally. And obviously this wasn't race flags. I just need to kind of get back into the swing of things a little bit. So hopefully I can get rolling on that. But as always, this was a whole lot of fun. I just, it's tough when you're on the tail end of a long seed and you're seeing a whole bunch of people finish in front of you. But I still feel like I did well, and I'm happy with how I did, and I'm excited to play some more.
Yeah, it seemed more, to me, honestly, it seemed more of a just, where do I go for my key items rather than did I execute better than my opponent. At least that was just the feeling I got. So, I don't know. Maybe you watch the VOD back later. Maybe you have the same thoughts. Yeah, there's always things anyone can clean up, but this just seemed like where that, heck am I going to get my next key item that I need more than execution.
You're right. There was definitely a point where I think everything was opened up, and there were like 12 different places to check that were all open. It was both Baron checks. I had music and Zot, and I just did Pan, but I had both tower checks. I had both Fame Arch bosses. I had there's so many things I could do at once, and I did them in the order I thought made logical sense, but ended up being basically the exact opposite of the order I wanted to do. But that's fine. I learned a lot from this, and I'll definitely try and do better as I go on here.
Okay, well, GG's to you. We have our other two restreamers that have both finished here. both Rumblefish and Kinda Nerdy Housewife have both finished. So yeah, GG's to you, Ground Flyer.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks everybody for doing the restream, putting all this stuff together. I appreciate it, Lady SSJ X Gears. I don't know if I pronounced that properly. And Xenocat and Asuka, and I think there's a fourth person who's not in here that I don't know. But thank you everybody for putting all this together, and thanks to all the watchers and the racers and everybody that makes this happen. I really appreciate everybody who does this, and I'm super happy to be part of this community. I love it all. So yeah, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
GG, have a good night.
Good night. So yeah, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, I believe we are joined by Kinda Nerdy Housewife. Was finished in 18th place, the time of 2 hours and 2 minutes and 34 seconds. GG's to you. Joined by Kinda Nerdy Housewife. Was finished in 18th place, the time of 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Kinda night, I got.
GG's to you.
Yep. We're also joined in here by Rumblefish, who finished in 15th place with a time of 2 hours and 9 seconds. GG's to you as well.
Thank you much.
Both of you took wildly different paths through this seed, but both of you ended up clearing pretty much the whole thing.
Thank you much.
Both of you took. Any thoughts from either of you about the seed, other than the fact that that was a long seed with everything checked? Start with you, Rumblefish.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I felt kind of gypped actually, because I thought I was doing very well, making some really good time. Had an excellent grind in the Giant of Babel, doing the D-Machine grind. Then I was able to get the Legend Sword very quickly early on. But then finding the Adamant was the thing, and so I basically did everything, all the standard key item checks, and of course you had to find you had to go to the Mist Dragon behind at the waterfall, which I didn't check, so that put me far behind, and I just kind of feel like I am peeved because I had a really good lead, I thought, and then I didn't really finish as strongly as I started.
Yeah, you were definitely the first runner on Restream, at least, to get that Luca key.
And the Luca key was what,
Yeah,
got you to the Legend Sword. So I was feeling pretty good once I turned to Legend. I was feeling pretty good, and it's kind of I'm still pretty peeved that getting the other one, which actually wasn't as difficult, took me so much longer.
But good on you for having, kind of the presence of mind to realize, oh, I still have a boss check or I have a key item check and Mist Dragon to do. So, being an hour and 45 minutes or so into the seed to go back and do that, I mean, that's just, good awareness by you.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking, actually for a while, I bet you, it's Mist Dragon behind something, but the problem is that really, the Mist Dragon could have been really anywhere. It could have been the first boss in the Tower of Zot. It could have been any number of the moon bosses. It was actually probably any number of the moon bosses, which is why I didn't check Waterfall. I thought it was just really improbably going to be there, but long and behold, it's there, as it so often is. I'm not really quite sure why, but it so often is. Mist Dragon was in the Waterfall spot, and that was what you needed to do to get to gold mode. But I mean, I think I did. I mean, I was really happy with my grind. I mean, that was a really efficient Giant of Babel grind. Kind of out of practice. So my Zromas fight, my first one, and I had a wipe, wasn't. I wasn't really. I had a little hubris going in there, and wasn't really. I wasn't nerfing the big bangs like I should have been. But there were some really good. I think there's some really good aspects to my play as well. Overall, I'm pretty happy.
Good to hear. KNH, any initial thoughts from you?
That was a 10 out of 10 treasury for me. Crystal Sword Cecil is too strong, literally in this case, because his agility was too high, causing a wraparound, so I had to put him in the middle.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Crystal Sword, Adamant Armor. It's just a ridiculous treasury. we in the booth we saw the X-Cal and we're like, okay, this is a pretty good treasury, and then it turned out the X-Cal was one of the less useful parts of that treasury.
Yep, I used that X scale and chucked it right into Animal Miss's face there. It was fun. It was fun. I mean, I'm pretty happy with 2 hours for a 17 out of 17. I just made the wrong choices, you know. I'm glad I went on that Mist Dragon hunt. That paid off. But overall, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, you did run. I mean, really, all of our. I mean, I don't say this to be pandering. I really don't. I mean, all of our runners, you know, including yourself, you know, ran a pretty good race. It just came down to, you know, there were just so many checks to make, and any of them could have been right, any of them could have been wrong, and it's just hard to know where to go. But yeah, I mean, you executed, you know, I think everything pretty well. You didn't get stuck, you know, on any one particular boss for too long. So yeah, I would say absolutely 2 hours for a 17 out of 17 is pretty good.
I think that's all I got. Thanks for having me. Thanks for restreaming, and I am very much looking forward to the Lolly Ho League.
Indeed. Any final thoughts from you, Rumblefish, before we wrap this interview up?
I mean, I guess it's just kind of a reminder. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, like, it could serve as a reminder that to do that overworld check, both check the mist cave and the waterfall spot early on, but I mean, just like I said, I'm overall looking forward to the run, and with the Lolly Ho run coming up, I'm looking forward to that too. So more races to come.
Yep, for sure. I believe that does it for our restream for tonight. I've been Xenocat, joined in the booth by Lady SSJ. Shoutouts to Asuka for the behind the streams restream work. Shoutouts to Snape D for keeping track of all of the key items tonight. And shoutouts to my wonderful co-commentator, Lady SSJ. Really enjoyed talking with you tonight.
Yes, you as well, Xenocat. This was very fun to do this tonight. This is our first pairing, and yeah, this is a great race to commentate. And as always, this is a great community. I'm personally thrilled to be a part of it. You know, Scholar Kitty has posted a couple links in our chat. I hope people check out. And as mentioned, the Lolly Ho League will be starting on March 8th. So if you have not signed up for it, and if you're thinking about signing up for it, give that a go. Also join our Discord, where you know, our wonderful community is, and help get you started on playing this absolutely amazing randomizer.
Yes, this community is truly an amazing community. It's one of the best I've been a part of.
I would tell you it's probably the best one I've been a part of personally. Yeah.
Everyone is so welcoming. But we are going to be sending y'all over to Dr. Cossack, who is doing an Oops All Cecil's Sea Hero seed. Do not spoil the results of this race for anyone, or either Dr. Cossack or anyone in his chat. We do not want people to get spoiled if they want to watch the VOD later. And until then, have a pleasant evening, or day, or whatever time it is where you are.